Multiversus returns May 28th, and when it does, it's gonna need plenty of new stages to keep the game feeling fresh. So let's go over some iconic locations that 100% need to be turned into stages. So first concept that we're gonna look at here, the Acme Canyon. This thing is too iconic to leave out of the game in any form. I love this concept. It is my favorite from this individual that has made all of these, but if you look over on the left and right hand side, it's got those like the cliff platforms, and I'm imagining they work similarly to the Batmobile in the Batcave stage. If you bounce off of them or damage them enough, I'm assuming those platforms are gonna fall and break and then they won't be there, so that'll be a really fun touch to the stage because it's staying true to what it does, right? So this definitely needs to be a stage in Multiverses. Next up, Gotham City, or the top of GCPD building with Gotham in the background. Could you imagine this? How is this not like in the game yet? I know Gotham City kind of gets done to death for stages like an Injustice and all that sort of stuff, but this would be so cool. The bat signal in the background. You could even have what appears to be, I think that's Batman standing in the background. So what if you had different Easter eggs to different characters? Maybe you can see Robin perched up on a building, or Nightwing, or maybe Batgirl, or somebody else in the background just to kind of see different fun little Easter eggs. That would be so cool. But this stage, very simple, but very pleasing to the eye, and an iconic location that you cannot miss out on. Next up, Mask Island from Steven Universe. I really dig this one. So you got three main, we'll call them platforms, over on the left, the middle, and then the right. And then you got three floating platforms on the left, the middle, and the right. But the floating platforms on the left and right, they cover the gap between the two. So this might seem a little similar to Trophy's Edge, where you have the gaps in between the floating platforms. I know people there's quite a bit of people that aren't the biggest fan of that, and they might want the stage removed. So what if we put water in between these islands, if you will? So instead of just falling straight down to the bottom blast zone, well, now you're in the water and you're going to kind of float for a little bit, or swim, I should say. So it kind of saves you, but it's just a different idea. I really dig this, and who doesn't want to go to a tropical paradise? Next up is a stage for Hawkgirl, if I'm not mistaken. I think it's called Thanagar. I don't know much about Hawkgirl, so I'm not going to pretend like I do, but this one just caught my eye. Very colorful, very vibrant, and stuff like that. I'm always game to see in any game as a playable stage. Something that's just fun to look at when you got the time. You're just kind of playing around. You're like, whoa, look at the details on this stage. This could be one of those types of stages. Very simple, long main platform and a couple floating platforms, whatever you got. Sign me up for this one. I'll take it all day. Next up is for Tom and Jerry. They're already a part of the base roster, but they don't even have their own stage. So what about this idea? Cheese Moon. I never once in a million years thought this would be an idea, but this is such a really fun concept. I imagine this being more on the fun side of stages, so this is not going to be a competitive stage. Maybe we could take away one or two of these floating cheese things, but the floating cheese could all be different platforms. Maybe they kind of move up and down slowly, left to right, whatever it might be, because you're on the moon after all, right? Obviously it would make sense, but this would be such a really cool stage to see. So Tom and Jerry do need their own stage. No one's arguing that. So why not make it Cheese Moon? Next up, Gumball's room, or more specifically, the desktop. This would be such a simple idea, but sometimes you need simple. You need the balance stages. So over on the left-hand side and the right-hand side, they're identical to each other. We'll call them ramps on the left and right, so you got one on each side, and then you got three floating platforms, left, up, and right. And then I'm guessing the stack of books in the middle might be it's another sort of object that you have to deal with on the stage. But this would be such a fun, basic, simple, but very understandable stage. And again, very geared towards competitive play, in my opinion, obviously, for obvious reasons, but this would be so fun. So sign me up, add this stage to the game. If Gumball doesn't get any sort of playable representation, would at least a stage suffice the fans? I think it definitely would help. Next up is another fan favorite character that is yet to be playable in the game, and that would be Courage the Cowardly Dog. So what if we got a stage like this? And it's, we'll call it the living room of the house. This would be so fun. You get the rocking chair and then the other chair just sitting in the background. Maybe you fight on top of TV is an upper platform. Maybe something's even going on the TV would be kind of fun. Maybe a little distracting, but you know, if you're fighting, don't pay attention to the TV. You're playing Multiverses. But then you got like, say the coffee table on the bottom for a longer platform down there at the bottom. So that'd be really fun. I think this would be a very interesting stage to add to the game, and one that would be a very welcomed addition. Next up, Daffy Duck has to be coming to the game at some point, right? So what if we give him a stage based around Duck Dodgers, and that would be Galaxy Station. This is really fun. This one might be my second favorite out of all of the ones that we're showing. Again, you kind of got like three sort of, we're not going to call them platforms. We'll call them pillars. You got one on the left, one on the right, and then one in the middle. And then in between them, instead of falling straight down to the bottom blast zone, you got lowered platforms that you can fight on. So it's almost like the Cromulon stage a little bit. It's kind of like two L's, except this time it's just a giant W. Does that make sense? Yeah. But then up top, you could have different space vehicles kind of flying through, maybe at various speeds. So one might be slow and you can fight on top of that. And then here comes another one going a lot faster. You hop on that one, but make sure you get off in time. So kind of like a Mute City or Big Blue kind of vibe for the stage to compare it to Smash Bros. A little bit, but this one would be fantastic. Next up, the Lego Movie. Oh, imagine we could get a Lego Movie stage. Just imagine that for a second. Oh, like you just get one building and it's completely built to start. But every time you smash into a wall, part of it breaks apart. You slam into I don't know, the ground or the floor, the ceiling, whatever it is, that kind of breaks open as well. So it's like a stage that is constantly evolving. Would be so fun. It's almost like if we compared this to anything else. How about like Luigi's Mansion in Smash Bros? You can destroy the inside and eventually the whole mansion disappears and then becomes one giant final destination stage, but then it kind of rebuilds itself. So maybe the Lego Movie stage could do that as well, but this would be so fun. Just an evolving type of stage. Next up might be the most aesthetically pleasing stage if this sort of idea came in, and that would be Forest of the Elves. The stage is extremely simple, very competitive, sort of focused stage. One giant long platform at the bottom, and then two raised platforms over on the left and right, and that's it. But then the background is the forest itself. This might be one of those stages where you're just like, hang on, everybody. I don't want to battle quite yet. Let me take a look and just take in the beauty of this stage. This would be such a pretty stage, and you could just imagine like the music that's going on, the soundtrack that's going on in the background. Maybe a little calming, and then maybe kind of like tenses up a little bit, whatever it might be. This would be such a fun idea. Next up is for a character that is most likely going to be playable at some point. That would be Samurai Jack. So let's give him something like the Temple Mountain. Very top of the mountain, or the very top of this hill, whatever you want to call it. And then you just get the traditional Battlefield variant. You get the main bottom platform and then 3 floating platforms. Very simple. Samurai Jack is a very heavy fan favorite character, so he's going to get a stage. So I think something like this would definitely work wonders. And then the final stage that we're going to look at, the Amazon Temple. Wonder Woman needs her own stage, right? And before anybody says
she already has her own stage.
No, Trophy's Edge is not a Wonder Woman stage. Trophy's Edge is something that was created for Multiverses specifically. Trophy's Edge is where all the trophies get gathered from different universes, right? That's why we see the city in a bottle. We see the Scooby van. I think the Scooby van's in there, right? But we get the Acme box in the middle, the Wonder Woman statue. So some people think that is the Wonder Woman stage. It is not. So imagine just the Amazon Temple with the Wonder Woman theme playing in the background. Oh, this would be like ideal picture perfect stage for her. I would love this. I think everyone would like this. So she's a very popular character and she deserves her own stage, right? So that is going to be it for this one. Hope you all enjoyed. If you get to this point in the video, you want to do me a favor, down in the comments, just let me know, out of the 12 concepts that we went over in this video, which one was your favorite? And if you want to see more, there will be a link to this person's Twitter down in the description, because they have plenty more that we didn't go over, but these were just some that caught my eye. Wanted to turn them into a video and say, this individual, Santos, makes spectacular stage concepts. Multiverses should maybe hire him.